Love is a high-risk behavior.
Standards. How many of us have them? Standards. Ones we can depend on. Standards have a recognizable and permanent value. They are established and they are familiar to those who created them. Standards are standard. Well, they should be for every person who is looking to have personal value, peace, and prosperity in life. Standards, like I said in the last episode, minimum are levels of behavior that you expect for yourself and from your relationships. Standards are your guideposts or landmarks towards your life that you are creating. Your standards will impact you personally, relationally, in physical health and well-being, in your career, spiritually, and so forth. Your standards create structure and ensure that your life, at minimum, has a certain quality or degree of excellence to it. Without them, you will experience deeper heartbreak than necessary, and who needs that? I realize not everyone knows truly what their personal standards are, and you may have an idea about what you like and what you don't like. But standards are more than preferences. They carry weight in your life and will be the first line of defense when you are challenged to break them. Last episode, I discussed briefly how I have been traversing a season of discomfort. I am uncomfortable despite my smile because I have been compromising my standards, mostly dealing with my career and my personal life ventures. And I was just thinking, wow, I do not want others to experience this. More importantly, I want to help you figure out what your standards are and how you can elevate your life. And that will in turn elevate your relationships. And of course, you know, this podcast is all about relationships. What I'm going to do today is give you a few practical ways to create your own list of standards to move forward through the rest of your year, at least, and maybe your life, who knows? So, let's relate. When it comes to laying the foundation for anything that you want to build, first you have to detach from any prior expectations of yourself. In other words, what you have already created is wonderful, it's great, and it may have worked out beautifully. But if you're trying to go to new places, higher quality places in life, you will realize that you need to release some things that can't serve where you are going. Those stale expectations may have won many battles in your past, and they will continue to produce the same quality of fruit if you don't allow yourself to detach and to become willing to do things differently, maybe more efficiently, and with a fresher set of eyes. So you have to reflect. Not being able to reflect and release those old expectations will 100% of the time give you the same exact results. And if you're anything like me, you're looking to not only move forward, but upward and toward a better version of yourself. So the first thing we do is detach through reflection. We think of all of the lovely things that we have encountered in all of the areas of our personal, relational, physical, spiritual, and career, maybe financial goals or pillars of life. In all of these areas that you have failed and achieved, you need to document that in some kind of way when you're reflecting. And I don't necessarily keep a stringent log of my failures because I usually don't like to look at them, not gonna lie, but usually I do a quarterly reflection on my wins and my failures to stay familiar. So it's not that I'm not looking, I'm just not looking every single day. Then yearly, I summarize the major ones and build from there, but first I reflect. I sit with them, I think on them, I pray on them, I praise about them, and then I give them to God, okay? The first step of detachment allows you to observe the canvas before the painting and figure out if you need to clean it, right? Or completely whitewash the painting, or if you just want to make some edits and additions to it, right? You need to assess what you're working with. So reflection is a great way of doing that. Like I mentioned in the last episode, you don't necessarily always need to change your standards. In fact, most of the time you won't. But I want to give something to those who are creating fresh and those who are maybe revisiting. So reflection either way is the first step to detachment from what has been and what was. Detachment by way of reflecting. I will leave it up to you to create ways to detach that make the most sense for you. Last season, I spoke about Marie Kondo's method of releasing old things, which in some ways may work for you. It's not necessarily my thing, but I heard it was amazing. Typically, though, in my past, it has been nothing for me to kind of just toss the things that were no longer serving me. I just am very great at that. But then again, the things that do heavily serve me, that have been really good to me, I will wear them out to the bone. And just because they've been good in the now and in the past does not mean that they're going to be good for my future. And that is why it's important to reflect for detachment and not just change everything for the sake of doing things differently. Standards, of course, don't necessarily need to be extreme. They just need to be pliable enough. And that means that you can shape or tweak them, but most likely you won't be doing that. They will be staying the same. That leads me to the next step in building or realigning your standards, and that is to dream. Your dream is your vision. The vision is the most important part. Where there is no vision, the people perish, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he. Your vision is your blueprint for the level of life that you want to live on. Your vision houses your standards. It houses your principles, your non-negotiables, and your values. Your vision should be very personal to you. So personal that you take the time to dream without any distractions, without any social input, any familial input, political propaganda, and even past outcomes that may have been very important to you that you've established. But what you want to do is just dream without any inhibitions. And you want to think about the quality of life that you want to have, and you should have. When I say dream, I mean to ponder. I literally mean to think, construct your life, deconstruct it, identify what you want the outcome to be with no inhibitions. That's the biggest thing. Then I want you to work it backwards. You know your strengths and your weaknesses. Your weaknesses happen to be opportunities for growth and for outsourcing experts in those areas. Par exemple, I dream to have a thriving marriage in 5 years. Thriving means that we love God, we love people, we work 9 months out of the year and travel for 3, we build each other up, we have an expansive network of friends and acquaintances in varying fields of work, we socialize regularly, we create jobs through our businesses, we elevate the community starting with the children, we expose our children to all of this and teach them how to construct a thriving life too. Then I personally am healthy in my mind, my body, and my spirit. I sleep 10 hours a day, which I don't know if that's ever going to happen because I've been a 4 to 5 hour since childhood. So I say that, but we'll see. I sleep 10 hours a day. I read 12 books a year in the genres that build my mind and my spirit. I've completed having all of my children. I don't know why I said it all, like there was going to be like 10 of them or something. By 2030, though, that's done. I max my Roth yearly, invest in Bitcoin. I have all of my properties in trust. I cook for my family 4 times a week. I redecorate my home quarterly and keep it fresh, and so forth and so on. Dream like your life depends on it. Make it very personal because when you move on to this next step, you are going to need to be very clear and you're going to need to be able to identify what type of person that you have to become to make that happen. And that means that your standards need to complement your dream. You can't standardize spending all of your excess income on designer bags and food and then expect to max your Roth, invest significantly in Bitcoin, own blocks of properties, and so forth. How? You ate it all up. You're wearing it on your person. There's no judgment to those who do that or who are in a position to do that. But some of us are not there yet, and we need to prioritize our disposable income and our standards and build off of that. Furthermore, your standards will be the floor of your personal fulfillment, so there is really so much more to go beyond your standards. As my pastor says, your standards are the floor, not the ceiling. Next, we draft. Drafting is the writing process. It's the process of taking those dreams, take them out of the sky, take them out of your head, writing them plainly on paper, typing them, making sure that you can visibly see them every single day. People do vision boards, people have goal boards. I do like a forecast board. I have it in, maybe I can take a picture of it so you guys can kind of see what it looks like. And then identify which standards you will need to have to meet them. But firstly, you will have to make sure that those standards meet you. What I mean by this is it's great to write a goal and have a dream in life, but if what it takes to achieve that is going to compromise your standards, you are going to be out of congruence with yourself, and that honestly can lead to unnecessary upsets and heartbreaks. You have to make sure that your standards and your dreams match, and that there is fairness and there's equity and there's a sense of virtue and value in them. Otherwise, you're going to betray yourself and others very easily. Now, because I'm a Christian, my standards and my values come from the Bible, so that is the foundation for things like my personal integrity, excellence, dominion, or agency. Like I mentioned in the last episode, those are some of my standards. So if what I'm dreaming and I'm drafting cannot be supported by my values and my standards, then it's out of alignment. And you may need to ask yourself a couple of questions about that if you find yourself there. When you're writing your dreams out and you're drafting, think about the type of person that you will need to become to achieve them. Is it to make $100,000 more? Well, then you might need to assess whether your drive matches that dream, or whether your integrity and your stewardship are up to snuff to even earn $100,000 more than you have been. Your standards set the tone for your dreams going from your head to your hands. They have to make sense with one another and must hold a deep value within you. Having an understanding of why a standard is important to you will make all of the difference. Why does it matter to God? Why does it matter to you? Why does it drive you forward? Is it something that you can build from? What do you care about? Why do you care about it? Does it help or hinder the quality of the life that you're trying to have, or the quality of the love and the relationships that you're trying to experience? When drafting, there's quite a lot to consider, but just try to keep it basic this first time around. Draft 5 simple standards from those dreams that you had, and you will know very quickly if it works. And the reason why I suggest working this way backwards to forwards by dreaming, then writing your standards, is because we often are beholden to standards that may have been established very early, like in our childhood, some good and some of them not so much, and they may not work for you anymore. And if you don't allow yourself to dream and see beyond what has always been, you can't confirm if those standards are still even right for you, or even if you believe in them at all. It's like when you dedicate your life to Christ. I personally had to establish for myself why I believed, why I love and have faith in God. And yes, I was raised in the church since the womb. Yes, my house was a home filled with the word of God, but that couldn't mean anything to me until I really detached, reflected, dreamed, wrote it down, and abided in what I believed about God. And personally, for me, that helped me draft up my standards from those dreams or those visions that I got to have, and from that confirmation that I got to have, and knowing why I believe. Everybody has to do this, right? My standards in all those areas like career and health and relationships, etc., have to mean something to me. And the best way to test that is to establish if the dream complements the standard. Are they in service to one another, or do your dreams undermine your standards? Are they going to make you compromise yourself? Think about that. Lastly, it's time to do. Your standards are the type of thing that you don't set and forget. If you can forget them, then they probably aren't rooted from a real place. Remember, your standards are your guideposts. They are landmarks that show you where you are and where you should not be. Like going from one neighborhood to the next. There are landmarks that will show, there are things that you can see that will tell you, probably shouldn't be here, right? In your relationships, in your personal life, finances, career, etc. They are the boundary lines that, if crossed, alert you that you have compromised. You've gone too far, or maybe you have been compromised. And this is precisely what I've been dealing with in the last 4 months is that I have been slacking on a few of my standards. I haven't really crossed them, but I have not been meeting them either, right? You can fall short and also go too far. And when you become relaxed about your standards, these minimum behaviors that impact the quality of your life, everything that you do and that you have built on top of it will crumble, okay? So please, you guys, just mind this, Understand that your standards are very important, but they are the floor of importance. So it's really important for your standards to be something that you can meet and not cross. So to summarize, you detach from all of these past inhibitors to allow yourself to dream of the life that makes the most sense for you, creating a vision that you can then live up to. Then you draft that vision, making it plain, and work it backwards to measure whether or not you see that you are capable to do so. This is an aside. I believe that you are capable, by the way, of many things, most things actually, because that is how I believe God created us. However, I am not called to do all the things I can do. So that is why I say in the drafting phase, it is so important to find alignment and complementarity. Otherwise, you're going to be breaching or slacking up on your standards. Lastly, you do the things you said you were going to do. Do the dreams, the relationships, earn the money, donate the charities. I don't know. Always reference your guideposts, though, along the way. Standards are a means of keeping your life in order and in mint condition. That, in and of itself, is a standard. As I said earlier, I wanted to make sure that you had a little something to chew on from my last podcast episode when it comes to building your set of standards to create a thriving life. Obviously, there are many ways to arrive at standards, and how you will set them is completely up to you. You don't have to even take this advice. This is just my personal method, but it's the most important part, of course, about this is that they are the guardrails of your life. You've got to have guardrails. And because they're guardrails for your life, they are guardrails for your heart. Remember that your relationships are the most important resource from other humans that you can have, and it will make or break the quality of your life and the love that you have based on your standards. I want you guys to remember to continue to love yourself first so you can then go and love your neighbor. I'll see you next time.
Why don't you stay a little longer? You like what you like, right? Subscribe to the channel so we can spend a little more time together, and maybe comment your thoughts because I care what you're thinking. Love is the risk and the reward.